Okay, so Michael Chandler comes out and he's talking about the Conor McGregor fight, and he's calling for it. He was going to do it in January of 2026, and he said the fight just stays alive, and I'm going to speak it into existence. Okay, no, it doesn't stay alive. That fight is dead. That is deader than Dillinger. That is deader than a turd in the bowl. And I don't know why you can't. I'm not quite sure what you're. Just because you speak of it sometimes, and occasionally the other guy in a drunken rant speaks about it too, it doesn't keep it alive. So it does create for an interesting spot. All right, let's go to Chandler. Chandler might be my favorite fighter, by the way. I mean, in terms of someone to watch and in terms of someone that I'm entertained by, Chandler and Dan Hooker, I mean, but these, so let me speak about Chandler. Since I'm so pro Chandler, let me speak about him, even if it sounds to be critical, because he's done nothing wrong. That's a really big fight. It's one that he was told that he had. It was one that he paid a price for by doing The Ultimate Fighter. Not for nothing, but I mean, that is a long media tour. And like anything in life, guys, when you get your excitement up because you expect it and it gets taken away, boy, that's a pain. That's a pain that can last with you for the rest of life. That big mistake that you made in high school, whatever it was, could have been on a test, could have been in a football game, whatever it was, where you thought you had it and it got taken away. That's tough stuff. So we, of course, have grace shown to Chandler, but just stay with me on something ugly, okay? If Chandler loses some more fights, I don't know what Chandler's record is off the top of my head, but I believe the only win he's had in is it about 4 years, is Tony Ferguson. I believe that to be true, with all due respect. Well, it's hard to stick around. And Chandler's one of the guys that can. But he's also 37 years old. In fact, now that I just said that out loud, I believe he's 38 years old. And he's got a couple of kids. And I don't know if he has a gym yet, but he's gonna. He shared with me that in Nashville he's opening a gym. I just can't remember if that was opened or opening. So he invited me to come down. As a matter of fact, he invited me to come down. And if he loses again, and it could be to anybody. Now, one thing we understand about Chandler, guys like me, big fans, yeah, he lost his last fight, but it was a number one contenders fight. Whoever won was going to fight for the belt. He lost to Charles Oliveira. Everybody loses to Charles Oliveira. Like, there's a little bit more to Michael Chandler losing. That was a rematch of a fight that he'd already lost to Charles Oliveira. And the guy's so tough, he signs up for a fight against a guy that had already beat him. You slip a Justin Gaethje in there, you got to do business with Dan Hooker. Like, life has been very hard in that cage for Michael Chandler, but you still got to stay with me. If he loses another one, will that be 4 in a row? Are we at 3 now? Are we only at 2? Are we at 3 of the last 4? I mean, am I kind of close on these numbers? And then you got to look at that 38. Now, stay with me. I'm by no means calling for a retirement or a contract pull of Michael Chandler. Not at all. I'm just setting you up in this situation so that you will understand something. If Conor can stay alive, and the UFC, boy, it's the hardest place to get. I mean, it's whack-a-mole. The moment a head comes up, boom, that head's getting chopped off. Another one comes up. It is a major whack-a-mole, whether you ever get in or you don't. If you get in and you get to TV, or you don't. If you get in, you get to TV, you work your way up to main card, main events, and title fights. Like, that whole thing will happen in reverse. You'll work yourself right out of TV, and then you're right out of a job. It's just the way it goes. But stay with me, because if Conor can keep his head in the game, and I mean from a whack-a-mole standpoint, if Conor can just pop up every now and then, and when if he can just keep popping up, and the company doesn't part ways with him, I don't know what Chandler's last couple of matches were. They all feel like wins to me. I forget. I watched him in Gaethje. I forget that he lost to Gaethje. Like, it felt like a win to me. It was an awesome contest. It was fun. It was at Madison Square Garden. You can tell me he lost. I guess. But when I say I really don't know what his record was, it's meant as a compliment. And in all fairness, I don't know what Conor's is either. I've heard some pretty tough stuff on Conor. I mean, I've heard he hasn't won a fight in 5 years, but then somebody else had said that he hadn't won a round in 5 years. And then someone else said like he had lost 5 in a row and it was over 5. You're like, the number 5, everything I hear on Conor, I realize I could go to SureDog and look it up. But I haven't. I keep hearing these things on Conor, and they're bad. And whatever Chandler says, it's not as bad as Conor's. And however old Chandler is, he's not older than Conor. And please don't bring it to me and show me that they're separated by years. It's the same thing, right? And that's before you get into living life clean versus cocaine and lawsuit years. So if Conor can keep his head up, if he can just stay under contract, if hope stays alive for Conor, and Chandler can keep himself attached to Conor, it would be very difficult for somebody to call Chandler and let him know your time here is done. Chandler say, why? They couldn't tell him age because it's the same as Conor's. They couldn't tell him records because it's better than Conor's. They can't tell him because there's nothing else big out there for you because there's Conor. And the more that Chandler does, I mean, I laugh at him for saying this fight stays alive. No, it doesn't. This is the most dead fight in the company. The Cookie Monster and Rose will fight in a main event 3 times before we ever see Chandler and Conor. But Chandler says it's alive, which means talks are ongoing. And for the last 6 minutes and 46 seconds, I've proven that to be true.